Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.
Hello and welcome to the Leveling Up Podcast with me, George Swift. The Leveling Up Podcast is here to give you the personal development, the entrepreneurial development and the business growth that you, the ambitious business owner, desires. I'm here to give you the inspiration, the motivation, but above all else, as always, to challenge your aspirations to take you and your business to the next level. Don't forget, subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Today I want to talk to you about how the opportunity is right here, right now for you. So I've been talking some time now for the past, few weeks, almost prophesizing about what the future might look like. And I know some of the messaging has been a little bit doom and gloom, not in terms of the impacts on you per se, but in terms of what we're facing collectively as peoples, but what we're facing collectively as entrepreneurs and business people. And of course, you know, every day I'm looking at the evidence, I'm looking at the news, I'm looking to economists, and every day we can see that potentially we are going into a dark time over the winter months. We've got the furlough scheme in the UK that comes up for renewal / let's be honest, it's going to get axed almost certainly in October. There's 9 million people, I believe, still on the furlough scheme at the moment. There's going to be a bunch of redundancies over the autumn and winter months. We know that. We can see that happening. Big companies are talking about redundancies almost on a daily basis right now. So the truth of the matter is, you know, we're not in it necessarily right now, but we are definitely staring down the barrel of potentially a major downturn in the economy. The truth is, I'm lying a little bit, we kind of are in it right now, but as I've been saying now for some time, the economy has been artificially propped up now for the last few months, and it's going to continue to get artificially propped up over the next few months, and then obviously, potentially, that's going to start to run out. It's hard to imagine that the government can continue to support business owners, to support individuals like they have been over the past few months. So therefore, we are kind of in it right now, but not in it right now, if that makes sense. So really, the whole point of this is not to, again, beat the drum about, oh my God, there's a tidal wave tsunami of global economic downturn and recession and, America's talking about a second depression and all this sort of stuff. It's not to really keep beating that drum, right? I get it. I know it's a little bit miserable to hear sometimes. It's really more about looking at human behavior, human psychology, your customers' behaviors and psychologies, and how can you navigate what we're going through right now? So I've been talking a lot about getting ready for what's coming and bracing yourself. And, you know, a big part of me talking about this stuff, even though I know it's negative, is to kind of stoke the fires of entrepreneurs and business owners, especially the smaller business owners. The big businesses, they know, by the way, they know it's coming. I've spoken to a number of big companies and they're already making plans for, huge redundancies for later on this year, and they're putting in all kinds of strategies right now, knowing full well what's waiting for them. It's really the small business owner, it's you listening to this podcast that might not necessarily be plugged into that information, and maybe there's a part of us that doesn't want it to be true, doesn't want to believe it's true, we don't want to look at it. There's another part of us that maybe is just naive to it. We just don't know necessarily the real state of the nation because it's not always necessarily been reported in the mainstream. There's a lot of noise in the world right now, and therefore some of these other stories, they pop up from time to time, but it's not a consistent message, and therefore it's easy for us to potentially miss. So the reason I keep pushing this is to stoke that fire, to get you to build the habits, to get you to start to put the gloves on and start to really fight for what you want now, whilst things are still not too bad, even though I know they might feel bad right now, compared to what's coming. I want you fighting fit. I want you, running at your best. I want you absolutely out there swinging and going out there and fighting for what you want, fighting for what it is that you need to create in order to maintain the lifestyle that you've got. But also, I really believe this. I believe there's a massive opportunity for all small business owners to continue to grow through whatever is facing us right now. Today is really looking at where we are at for maybe the next couple of months or so. Now, again, I'm not a prophet. I'm not an economist. I'm just taking a lot of information from different places, and I've been around a little while now. And, we launched our business in the last recession. I've seen how people respond and think and, behave and react and act. Now, we are in an optimistic phase right now. And again, I know it all has to be caveated with this idea of relatively so, because of course, compared to where we were in January, it's not a particularly optimistic place right now in the UK and across the world. I get that. But what I'm really referring to is where we've been for the past 3 months, which was obviously a very pessimistic place, where I think we are probably going, and certainly what a lot of very smart people, way smarter than me, are saying, we're heading into darker times, and therefore there'll be some pessimism around going into autumn and certainly through winter. So what that means is right now we have optimism, and it might not be the optimism that you had in January. It might not be the optimism that you would want to have, but I think as this year plays out, you may well find that right here, right now is the most optimistic that people are going to be. I genuinely believe we've probably got a good, decent summer ahead of us. I think people are going to enjoy the weather, enjoy the summer, enjoy their holidays. I think they're going to, enjoy the fact that I think more and more people are starting to wake up and they're starting to invest some money in things. So I've seen it across all my members in success groups and my extreme growth masterminds. All of those members, all those businesses that are out there proactively selling right now, they're winning leads, they're winning opportunities, and they are winning business right now. Every single one of them, okay? If you're out there fighting for business right now, it is out there, you'll find it and you'll win it. Do you need to adapt? Potentially. We've done a lot of work in the club, and some of that I've been passing on to you guys through the podcast. We've had to adapt maybe how we communicate, how we message, who maybe we're selling to. So, of course, we've maybe had to re-engineer a few things in order to get ourselves to that place. But fundamentally, if you're out there pushing and selling and being smart and creative, you will find business out there right now. I think that's probably going to continue. However, I do believe as we start to get the real news of the impending economic crisis, as it starts to really permeate through the general psyche of the population, I do obviously therefore expect that optimism to start to turn into some pessimism. And what that means is, of course, we're going to have to deal with whatever we have to deal with. If a recession comes, so fucking be it. If we go into a massive global depression, so fucking be it. If the market shrinks by 10%, 20%, 30%, if it shrinks by 50%, so fucking be it. That's the world we have to occupy. That's the world we have to navigate. We have to go out and do what we need to do in order to continue to live and thrive in whatever is currently facing us, and whatever transpires and actually comes to fruition, we're going to have to deal with it. It's like, so fucking be it. There's no point being too worried about it, too fearful about it. It's more about being prepared for it. But right now, I want to say to you is this. I know summer holidays are coming up, and you may well have booked a holiday like millions of people have in the last week or two, because obviously there's this optimism around being able to go abroad and air bridges, and therefore, we know that a lot of people have jumped on this and absolutely just want to have their summer holidays. I totally get it, by the way. It's been a few months of hell for many people, trapped in their homes, cooped up in their homes. Luckily, we had probably one of the best springs I can certainly remember in the UK. And therefore, it maybe wasn't as bad as it could have been. But the truth is, I get it. People want to get away. They want to go somewhere else, do something different, change the scenery, feel like maybe they're living somewhat of a normal life. I get all of those things. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have a holiday at all. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a break. What I'm saying is, actually, I do believe that right now we're having a small mini optimistic golden age. In other words, I think that whilst it may have been better in January, and whilst it may have been better this time last year, I do believe that we may end up finding that other than maybe January and February this year, these couple of months that we're in right now may prove to be the most optimistic months that we're currently in. In other words, where your clients are most open to doing business with you, they're most optimistic themselves, and therefore they're thinking about investing in their own futures, they're thinking about having to get going again, get moving again. Obviously in the media, every day it's up and down and up and down. Like, one day it's that more people have been infected than we think, and the good news is therefore it's far less lethal than we thought. And the other good news is there's a lot more antibodies out there than we thought, and therefore it looks like, it's not going to be as bad as, we might think in terms of a second wave. And then literally the next day, it's all about second waves. Now, coronavirus is now 10 times more contagious than it was. And again, it's up and down and up and down. It's playing with people's emotions. And, I get it. You're probably the same as me, and you're probably like my members, and you're probably like everybody else right now that's been affected by this thing, which is, just give me something I can put my hat on. Give me something that I can say for certain. Give me something solid to work on so that I can start to commit myself fully to a course of action. Like if we're going down, and we're facing this shitstorm of an economic crisis, then Christ, just let me know. Let me know. Tell me what I'm facing so I can make some real decisions right now in preparation for that. But no, we've got all this talk from Boris. Again, I'm talking about the UK here specifically, but we've got all this positive talk about massive reinvestment in the UK, and we're going to bounce back. And, we get all this positive talk, and I hope it's true. I really genuinely do hope it's true. But then, of course, we see this other stuff coming through, from these great economists and stuff, and and they're talking about the fact that it's inevitable where we're heading, and again, you're there and your emotions are being pulled from pillar to post, and 1 minute we're all saved, the next minute we're all doomed, and the truth is, without anything certain, it's very hard to be certain about anything, and therefore it's very hard to commit ourselves to anything, right? And I've done an episode on this just recently. People take action based on certainties. People take action based on what they know. And if they don't know, and if they're uncertain, there's doubts. If there's doubts, there could be fears. And when we have that emotion running through us, then we behave very differently. We retreat, we pull back, we backtrack, we procrastinate. Not just you, not just me, but everybody. And therefore, what we need is optimism in people. And if we can get optimism in people, and if we can tap into the opportunity that's there, this isn't blind optimism, by the way. This is just the opportunity that does genuinely exist. We have to find it, and we have to seek it out. And then we have to show it to our customers and our clients and our prospects so they can see it as well. And by them seeing it, they'll be able to have that optimism that we want them to have to, number one, go out and live the life they want to live and have a better experience of life and go and do what they need to do. And secondly, of course, it is going to help us in terms of make it easier for us to be able to demonstrate and show to those people how we can support them in that. And therefore, it will lend itself to being a much easier sales process. Okay, this isn't about lying to people. This isn't about getting people to be artificially optimistic. It's about people finding the opportunity that always exists and does exist and will exist. And therefore, they'll naturally feel more optimistic. And from that place, they can be more decisive in taking positive action. One of which will almost certainly be in spending money with other people like yourself that are going to support them and help them to achieve their objectives and their outcomes. And ultimately what it is they're trying to achieve in life and in their business. And this is going to be our challenge. This is going to be our task as small business entrepreneurs to go out there and be this force of positivity, not blind optimism, not blind positivity, but to go out there and seek the opportunity and show the opportunity and demonstrate the opportunity so that others can also have that experience for themselves. However, it's easier, of course, when we don't have to do that. It's easier when times are good and when times are optimistic and when people are positive. It's easier for us to be able to make hay while that sun is shining. And I do believe that that's for probably the next couple of months or so. And then I think we might start heading down into maybe some more pessimistic times. So I always say this, you have to just embrace the opportunity that's there at any time. When there's a lot of opportunity, then great, we embrace a lot of opportunity. When there's, less opportunity, we have to embrace the opportunity that is there. And if we do go into a dark recession, if we do go into an elongated recession, even a global recession, then there'll still be opportunity out there, and we'll have to embrace whatever that opportunity is, albeit maybe less on the ground. If you haven't been listening to my podcast episodes over the past few weeks or so, go back and check them out because I've been talking about this very thing. So therefore, right now, I believe we are in a natural optimistic state, albeit not as optimistic as we would have been had we not had what we've just gone through and the obvious uncertainty of what we're all facing in the future. But fundamentally, this is going to be one of the most optimistic, positive times that 2020 has. Now, again, I know that might sound miserable if right now you're not feeling particularly optimistic and positive. However, if we do go into a more pessimistic, darker era as we go into autumn and winter this year, you don't want to be looking back at the summer and thinking, oh my God, that was where the opportunity was. You don't want to miss it right now. And I keep caveating this, if I'm wrong, for example, if the economists are wrong, and if we do bounce back and therefore we have a great, economy rebound, then brilliant, right? Then great. All we've done is we've doubled down on the opportunity that's available to us right now, and we've capitalized on the availability of opportunity right now, and we've built some really good momentum going into a growing economy through autumn and winter. If things do head a little bit south and go a little bit darker, then what we've done is we've capitalized on the opportunity that was here. This is what we do at any point in time. A good economy, a negative economy, and whatever the hell this is that we're in and going into right now. So what I want to think about right now is, no, I don't want you to not go on holiday. I don't want you to, not enjoy the summer months in terms of having that time when things do feel more optimistic and positive, to spend that time with your family and your friends and your loved ones. And of course, I don't want to take any of that away from you. But just ask yourself the question, what would you do now if this was the most optimistic that your marketplace was this year? What would you do differently? How would you approach the summer differently if this was your best opportunity of the year in order to get yourself set up for the rest of the year? What would you do differently? How would you behave differently if right here, right now, was the best opportunity that you have as a small business in 2020? It's not about not having the barbecues, not about not having the holiday. It's just, what would you do if that was true? I don't want you to sacrifice your life. I want you to invest your time in the right places. I believe, and I'm acting right now in my own business, that right here, right now, is the best opportunity that we're going to have for the remainder of this year to be able to go out there and do business easy and freely. I also believe that no matter what is waiting for me, whether it's October, November, December into next year, or whether it never happens at all, I also believe there'll always be opportunity. I'll adapt. I'll be creative. We'll find the opportunity that's out there. If you go back to some of my previous episodes, I talk about being relevant to your marketplace, relevant to your audience. So as long as you're relevant to the marketplace, relevant to your audience, as long as you position yourself in the right ways for your audience, your target market, there'll always be a market for you out there. And again, if you've not been following these podcast episodes over the past few months or so, go back and check out some of the stuff I've been putting out there, because it's invaluable in terms of getting your mindset in the right place, but also maybe doing some of that re-engineering that you need to in your proposition, your value proposition, your positioning, your target market, how you communicate yourself with the target market. Their opportunities will always be there. Our job as entrepreneurs, our job as small business owners, is to consistently go out there and find the opportunity that does exist. When there's lots of opportunity, of course, it's easier to find that opportunity. When there's less opportunity, we have to work a little bit harder and dig a little bit deeper to find that opportunity. We have to work a little bit harder, maybe. We have to be a little bit more creative, maybe. We have to double down on the tasks and the actions and the methodologies and the strategies that are going to get us the results that we want to have. In a booming economy, I said this so many times, it allows for business owners to be lazy. You can be lazy salespeople. You can be lazy in terms of how you put yourself out there in the marketplace, your marketing, etc. In a tough economy, people who are lazy are going to get swallowed up and eaten up. We're going to have to work a little bit harder. Doesn't mean you have to work longer hours. It just means you've got to be a little bit more diligent, a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more focused. You're going to have to be a little bit smarter, a little bit more creative than maybe you would do if times were good. And therefore, you realize that as long as you know that you've got it in you to maximize the opportunity that will be there at any point, you don't need to fear what may be coming down the line. But what I want you to do is I want to get you ready for what may be coming down the line by building those positive habits right now. And what better time to do it than during the couple of months or so where I truly believe it might be the most optimistic and most positive time that we have of 2020, excluding maybe January and February right at the beginning. So have a little think. By all means, have the holidays, enjoy the sun, enjoy the family time, the barbecues, of course do all that. Enjoy going down the pub when the pub's opened up. Enjoy some breaks and some hotel breaks and some theme parks and whatever it is you want to do that you're able to do now that maybe we haven't been able to do for the last few months or so. But also just have that thought in your head rather than if we had a lot of certainty in business like we normally do that, the summer's quiet and I can enjoy and relax myself over summer and then come September, I'll start cranking the handle again, knowing that my clients and my marketplace will start to all come back online towards the middle and the end of September. And October and November are massive months normally for most small business owners. In a normal economy, in a normal set of circumstances, then I'd say, have the summer that you want to have and kick back and enjoy it. And I'd be the same, by the way, which is, I can enjoy a relaxed summer because I know I'm going to kick ass in autumn. Well, because of the degree of uncertainty in autumn, I know I'm still going to kick ass in autumn. I know I'm going to maximize whatever's available in autumn, but I definitely don't want to miss the wave that I'm on right now. I don't want to miss the opportunity that exists right now. And I believe the opportunity that will exist for the next couple of months, because I don't want to look back from October, November, December and realize the best was already behind me, or the easiest time was behind me, or the most optimistic or the most positive time was behind me. Does this make sense? I want to maximize the opportunity that I'm in right now. And right now, I believe there is opportunity out there for you. Nice one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this podcast. 157 episodes designed specifically to help you, the small, ambitious, service-based business owner. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe so you never miss an episode moving forward. Also, if you are a small business that hasn't yet hit 100K, you might be doing 10, 20, 30. Maybe you've even got as far as 40, 50, 60 or 70K. But for whatever reason, you haven't yet hit 100K in turnover, then get yourself on the six-figure fast track. I'll take you through the six-figure mindset you need to have, the six-figure business model you need to have in place, and also the six-figure methodologies you need to have in place. What it is you need to be doing and what you need to stop doing in order to take your business to 100K in the next 12 months or less. The six-figure fast track, the rules have not changed. The rules of business growth, they haven't changed. The rules of extreme business growth, they haven't changed. However, the landscape has changed and the economy is changing all the time. Society itself is changing all the time. And therefore, not only can you go to the six-figure fast track URL and find a recorded webinar masterclass waiting for you right now, completely free of charge, you'll also see a link there for our next live workshop. We're running these online 3-hour workshops where I go through the mindset, the business model and the methodologies you need to have in place as a small ambitious business owner that wants to hit 100K in the next year. But also there's a 1-hour Q&A that we do, which gives you the opportunity to ask the questions that you need answers on in order to be able to put your best foot forward and take the action that you need to take in order to continue to drive your business forward and again to thrive, to continue to grow your business despite the economy in right now and regardless of whatever may be bearing down on us in the not so distant future. You can find all that if you go to biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk/fast track. I'll put the link in the descriptions of this episode. I look forward to seeing you on one of those, I hope, very soon. Until then, as always, be successful.
Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.